Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode of Musical Musings. We air this program every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and it's broadcast to you from Rajamacon, University of Technology, Pranikon. This program will come to you in two parts. For the first part, I will introduce an artist and a song to you. We'll talk a little bit about the artist, some of his background, and then we'll talk about the song a little bit. We will discuss its main themes, what it's all about, some of its background. Then we'll take a break and listen to the song, and in the second part of the program, we will analyze the lyrics, looking especially at any difficult vocabulary, slang, idioms, anything that may be hard to understand. All right, let's get to the show.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Gary Gray, your host for Musical Musings. I'm an American English teacher here at Rajamacon, University of Technology, Pranikon. I've been here for about 8.5 years, and of course I'm mostly teaching English, and sometimes I will use music in the classroom to help my students learn. All right, so this week we've got a little bit of a tricky one I'm doing. It's not tricky in terms of it being a difficult song. It's tricky because I didn't go look up our entire catalog. We are on week 132 of doing this program, so we've been doing it almost 3 years. I try not to repeat artists. I think I might have done this artist before, but I don't think I did this song, but it's possible I did. So I might actually be repeating a song. I hope not. There's another song by this artist, which I thought we did. I don't even want to say what song it is because I'll look like an idiot as your song person if he didn't actually do the song. But I always kind of look up the most notable songs by someone just to try to make sure I don't miss anything for the end of our program, where I always tell you what the best songs are by a certain artist. And I didn't see that song on his list. I didn't bother to then go and look up who did sing the song because I was just trying to get all my information together. But it made me wonder if we didn't do that other song by him, then maybe we did this song already. So I hope not. If we did, I apologize. Hopefully I will give you a little bit more information on it, or hopefully the version of the audio-video recording that we have is a different version, so it comes out a little bit differently. All right, so I hope we did not do this song already, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so the song we're doing is "Everything I Do It For You" by Bryan Adams. Technically, I think the name is just "I Do It For You," but the way the song starts is "Everything I Do," so some people just call it "Everything I Do." Some people put the whole thing together and say "Everything I Do It For You." Okay, and it's by Bryan Adams. Okay, and a little bit about Bryan Adams first. He is Canadian, born in 1959, and he started performing professionally in 1975. If you do the math there, that's quite young. He would have only been about 16 years old. He is still active today, and he's about 65 years old. Now, you may do the math there and say, well, shouldn't he be 66? No, he has not had his birthday yet. His birthday comes up in just about a week. So that's as of this recording, which is late in October of 2025. So within a week. of me recording this, he will be 66. He is 65 right now, though. And he has 4 number 1 hits. I'll mention the other 3 at the end of the show, as I always like to do. I like to mention an artist's top hits. Okay? And we are going to keep this episode a little bit short. Sometimes our producer will put in a different version of the song than I provide for him. But if he puts in the one I provide, it's a little bit of an extended version. So the song is a little bit long. It's over 6 minutes. So we're going to try to keep this a little bit short today. Okay, so we will move right on here to the song. Let's talk a little bit about the song. Again, it's Everything I Do It For You. I usually call it Everything I Do, but I think really it's supposed to be I Do It For You. Whatever. Most times when you see it listed, it's listed with the whole name. But anytime I see it like abbreviated and it's on sort of an official list, it'll say I Do It For You. So I think that's the correct name. I usually call it Everything I Do. It seems more reasonable. When you hear the song, you'll see why that seems more reasonable. All right, so this song came out in 1991, and it reached number 1 in the U.S. It was extraordinarily popular. It reached number 1 in a lot of other countries as well. I would say, if I'm looking at his other number 1 hits, I think this has to be his top hit overall, probably by far. Even the other song that I thought he did, but I'm a little unsure now, even that other song, it was very popular, but I don't think it was as popular as this. So I think this is his. In fact, I'm certain it wasn't a number 1 hit, so there's no way it could have been as popular because I have all 4 of his number 1 hits here. So this is, I think, by far Bryan Adams' top hit. And in fact, it was even used in a movie. It was used in the movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It is a pretty simple song. It's a little bit long. Another reason why we have to kind of move quickly here and get to the second part of our program. But it's simple in terms of what it's about. It's exactly what it sounds like it's about. Everything I do it for you. It's a love song about being devoted to the person you're in love with. Everything you do it for them. That's what it's about. Very simple. There's nothing tricky here. Okay, so we're just going to jump right forward. Like I said, it's a kind of a long song, so we have a lot of lyrics to go over. I mean, it's not that much, but the chorus changes a little bit, so we've got to go over almost everything. So it's a little bit long, so we're going to get right to it. Let's go ahead and get to the song. For those of you who are joining us on YouTube, as you know, we cannot embed the video because of copyright reasons. So please click on the upper right link, and then you can see the video. After that's done, click back to come back here, and you should be okay. Everyone else, we can embed music since we are a radio station after all. So if you're just listening, if you're on streaming or on the radio, all of you should be able to listen just fine. All right, let's get to the song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so that was Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams, and it's a song about being devoted in love. Now, before we get to the lyrics of this song, during that little short break, I did check to see on the other song. I don't know why I don't have it on the list of some of his best songs, but yes, the other song I was talking about, it's called The Summer of '69, and it is by Bryan Adams. I was pretty sure it was, but I don't know why I didn't see it on his list of songs when I was taking my notes for this program. So I think if we did Bryan Adams before, I think that's the song we did. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. Okay, so I'm hoping we have not done this song before. So let's get to the lyrics. Look into my eyes, you will see what you mean to me. Search your heart, search your soul, and when you find me there, you'll search no more. Okay, so this is pretty easy. Look into my eyes. you'll see what you mean to me. In other words, just the way they look at each other. She'll see the love he has for her. Search your heart, search your soul. When you find me there, in other words, you'll find me in your heart and soul, and you'll search no more, because you already have me in your heart, in your soul. You don't need to search anymore. So in other words, you won't be searching for another man. Don't tell me it's not worth trying for. You can't tell me it's not worth dying for. You know it's true. Everything I do it for you. Okay, so I told you it's kind of a long song, so we have to go through all the lyrics. The one nice thing about it is pretty simple. There's not too much to explain here. I will say that when he says something like, you can't tell me it's not worth dying for, I don't know if he'd really die for her. Maybe he would. Maybe the love is that strong. Everything I do it for you. But sometimes in English we have an idiom where we might say, I would die for that. And we don't really mean we'd die for it. It just means we really want it. So I don't know if he's really saying he died for this person. And now again, maybe he would. Some people would die for the person they love. Maybe he would. But it may just mean that he really wants her. He's just trying to express his love. Okay? So I take it more as that. Because he's saying it is worth trying for, and you'll see in other versions of this chorus, he'll talk about it as worth fighting for and all of that. So I don't think he's literally saying he would die for her, but he might. Again, some people would be. Okay, we continue. Look into your heart. You will find there's nothing there to hide. Take me as I am, take my life. I would give it all, I would sacrifice. Okay, so maybe he would give up his life. Although usually when you say take my life, I would give it all, I would sacrifice. Again, he probably doesn't mean literally his life. All right, so let's go back there. It says, look into your heart, you will find there's nothing there to hide. In other words, there's no secrets, in other words, his love for her is pure. Look into your heart and you'll understand how much I love you. That's all he's saying there. Take me as I am. So he's admitting he's not perfect either. Take me as I am. This is me. Take me. But he's saying, take all of me. Take my life. I would give it all. I would sacrifice. To sacrifice means to be willing to give up something. And usually it's something you want. Otherwise, we wouldn't call it a sacrifice. So it's something you would prefer to keep. But maybe you can't because of the situation. Okay? Then we get back to the chorus, and again, he does change the chorus here a little bit. Don't tell me it's not worth fighting for. I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. You know it's true. Everything I do it for you. Okay, there's not much there that's tricky. I will tell you there is a little bit of an idiom there where it says, I can't help it. If you can't help something, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't actually help. That doesn't make sense. I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. To help means to give someone assistance, to aid them, to do something for them. He's saying, I can't help it. What that idiom means is that there's nothing he can do about it. In other words, these are just his feelings. There's nothing he wants more. That's just how he feels. There's nothing he can do about it. He can't change his feelings. Okay, then we get what's called a bridge. There's no love like your love, and no other could give more love. There's nowhere unless you're there, all the time, all the way. Once again, pretty simple to understand. There's no love like your love. Okay? In other words, no one compares to you, and no other could give more love. So apparently these two are already together. Sometimes when we do a love song, it's to convince someone. Seems like he's not trying to convince her, because it says and no other could give more love. So apparently he's already receiving that love. He's just telling her how much it means to him. That's what this love song is about. There's nowhere unless you're there. So in other words, obviously there's not nowhere. I mean, you're always somewhere. What he means is he's kind of lost if she's not there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how nice the place is. This was written for Robin Hood. He could be in a castle somewhere. It doesn't matter if she's not there. So there's nowhere unless you're there. All the time. All the way. Now, what he means by all the way means on their trail of life, on the whole, as they're traveling through their life's journey, all the way. Okay, now we get back to the chorus, and it's actually, I'm sorry, this isn't really part of the chorus. I'm sorry. Because partly it's similar. It says that you can't tell me it's not worth trying for, which was similar to the first chorus, right? I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. But then it kind of transitions more like it's still part of the bridge. I would fight for you. I'd lie for you. Walk the wire for you. Yeah, and I'd die for you. So there he mentions dying for her again. So maybe he would. But again, it could still be just the idiom that we use, the saying we use. So there is one line in here that might be tricky. Most of it's pretty easy again. You can't tell me it's not worth trying for. Okay? So what he's saying is it is worth trying for. I can't help it. There's nothing I want more. We've already had that line. I would fight for you. Yep. I'd lie for you. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but okay. Yep. Walk the wire for you. That's the tricky one. That's the tricky one. What does that mean? So when we're talking about walking the wire, it means walking a high wire. I don't know if you're familiar with this, with like acrobatics and daredevils. This is something you don't really see much anymore, but it used to be kind of a popular stunt that people would do a long time ago. And that is that they'd be elevated really high in the air. They have this big long pole to help them balance, and the person would walk across a little thin wire. And it was very dangerous, which is why it was exciting, because they were high up. And occasionally, some of them did it without a net. And so there were accidents, and people would actually die doing it. And so it was it was a dangerous stunt to do. Well, in other words, he'd put himself in danger. He'd take risks. He would walk the high wire. He'd walk the wire for you. So that's what that means, is to take risks and to put yourself in danger. That's what he's saying. And that's really the end of the song. It just says, you know, it's true. Everything I do it for you. And that's it. That's the end of the song. All right, as we always do, I like to give you some of the other top songs by an artist. So Bryan Adams' top songs, if you go by number one hits, it's Everything I Do It For You. Then the one we just did. Then there are three others. Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman? All for Love. Heaven. And then there was one, I think, that got to number 3, and I believe it's Can't Stop This Thing We Started. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think I know that song, even though it got to number 3. And then there's also the song that I somehow missed on the list, and it wasn't number 1, or it would have been on the list I looked at. But it was the one I was mentioning earlier. It's Summer of '69, which I think we might have done on this program before. I hope we did, because if we didn't do that, we probably did this song. I'm hoping we didn't do this song. I try to never repeat a song. I even try not to repeat artists, but there is a reason why I selected this song this week. So I wanted to do, or this artist this week, so I did want to do this. I just hope I'm not repeating a song. I think we did Summer of '69, because that's my favorite song by Bryan Adams. Okay, so that's Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams. And that's our show. Thank you for joining us for today's Musical Musings program. I'd encourage any young people out there who may be listening to check out our university, Ratchamakan University of Technology, Pranicon. We have a lot of good programs here, and we are expanding. We're starting an international college here. We're a growing university. All right, so please stay with us and tune back in next week for another great song. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Musical, music.